Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. How is everybody doing this week? It's been a little quiet for me as far as Mandelas this week. I still do have some, but not like the crazy town it's been the last few weeks. I don't know what's going on. It definitely feels like the energies still feel like they're pretty crazy. And I saw Shari say she had something with her eye, and the one thing I've noticed the last 2 days is that my eye has been twitching, and I have not had my eye twitch in like years. Um, I took some magnesium, almost said magnesium, and that seems to have cleared it up. But it's definitely, I wasn't short on magnesium. That's the thing. I mean, I take it regularly, so I took some like extra, and that seems to be working. But I don't know if like suddenly I need even more magnesium than I need before. It's like, how many vitamins does this body require? I don't know. But so I usually take like the RDA of magnesium, plus I assume that I get some from food. So it's not like I'm like mega dosing on it or anything. But still, I was like, okay. I just think it was interesting. Shari had mentioned that too. And Shari says she's got two manned animals, so that should be interesting. Let's see. And I'm just kind of scrolling here to see what else is up. Just waiting for, yeah, okay. Yes, it did. It actually just kind of didn't start the first couple times I asked, and then, I don't know. The computer's weird all the time. Lately, it's just had that same weird error message as last week, but the error message doesn't seem to hurt anything other than occasionally popping up and making me click on it. So I'm like, okay. I'm sure next month that problem will disappear and there'll be a new problem. This photo reminds me of the traditional houses in the middle of the desert in Iran. I've actually never seen like that image before, but that's a 1,000-year-old artifact that we will cover here shortly from Iran. It is from Iran, yes. What do you think of the UFO hearing yesterday? I didn't actually listen to it. I don't know what's going on with the UFO thing. I mean, like for all of my life, if you even said anything about UFOs, the media would laugh at you. The higher ups would act like you're a child, like a 5-year-old child reading fantasy books and all this crap. And now all of a sudden, there's serious hearings and serious discussion. But yet, most of the stuff pretty much almost all of the stuff, except for maybe a couple of videos, all the videos could have been super easily faked, first of all. So there's absolutely no way to know if those videos are real or not with the current level of video technology faking. Okay, so, and the hearings themselves they haven't given much info. There's some hearsay, some talk, some claims, no details whatsoever. I definitely do feel like we're being prepared to start accepting this concept. So, what does that mean as far as the nature of reality? That's my question. If you want to look at it from a conventional perspective, it could be a total psyop, or it could be disclosure, or it could be some of each, like disclosure, the truth is coming out, but they're spinning it, for instance, away from reality, from what the real situation is. That's just from a conventional perspective. Beyond that, if you want to go, well, okay, now what about Mandela? We see more of what we concentrate on is what like if there's more movies on something, that seems to come in reality. If something becomes trendy now, it seems to go into the past and show itself there, and I have many more of those examples even today. So now, talking about UFOs, I have said for a while that the esoteric and the strange stuff seems to be, at least from my perspective, coming into my reality compared to the way it was before. So I think that we will see more weird stuff. It may be that this is just the seed, and very slowly, or maybe not as slowly as we're accustomed to, but it will grow into a tree, But right now what we have rumors, crappy videos, vague stuff, a lot of stuff from people that aren't so trustworthy exactly. I feel like it's just like the beginning of a movie, and I'm just going to have to wait and see how the plot spins out. I have little doubt that it will spin out into interesting directions. I just don't know which direction. So for those who say this is going to be a nothing burger, no, I think it'll continue to grow and interesting things will happen, because that is just the kind of reality we are in these days. It's like when I said I thought that Trump would win the election last year just because he stirs up so much crap and interest and attention. But I was wrong. He lost, but then here he is still doing it. So maybe he was able to stir up even more crap and attention and interest and stuff by having lost. So maybe that's the thing that I got wrong on, that is assuming that he would just fade into the background if he lost. Oh, no. So the interest is continued on. So let's see. All right, now fancy cuttlefish. Now I know I had cuttlefish a long time ago on there, but I don't think I've had fancy cuttlefish. I don't know if I've had fancy cuttlefish on here. I just had them turning from white to black and black to white in like a blink of an eye, like somebody was doing a video. I don't know why it's not loading. Loading. I might have cursed myself because it was acting a little strange right before. And it might be that the OBS has put a load on it. I don't know what's, pardon the pun. Why did Representative Tim Burchett say he invited NASA when never a straight answer replied only NASA, never a straight answer replied only one NASA representative officials invited but refused? Why didn't Tim Burchett say that instead? So what do we see now with all of the politicians is they basically lie right to your face. They say, oh, I never said that. And then they're on record having said it in like hundreds of videos. They said it, so like Biden said a bunch of stuff and now he says he never said it. And Trump did the same thing. I never said that, and you got all this video. Everybody heard him say it. It's on his old Twitter tweets, still there, So they're just dying out their butt now. I mean, so you see the same in Congress, I never said that, Fauci. And yeah, he did say it. I never did that. Yes, you did. There's a record of it. So it's like nobody, it's just like blatant ridiculousness now. So I have no doubt that this NASA stuff will also follow similar. Okay, here we finally have the oh, interesting. Okay, so what? Okay, yeah, I haven't had this thing on. What the hell? It like walks to. Oh, so it's like a mini octopus with a razor tongue or something. Okay, so yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I've never seen that one before. That's interesting. What is that thing? So there, I don't know if you saw the fancy, I think I've had it on, but it looks like even more. It's like called fancy lobster. I think it was called fancy lobster. So this girl I know, PJ, was talking about it and reminded me. I know we've had it on before, but it looks like it got even more ridiculous. Let's see. I think it was called fancy. I wasn't going to have it on, but then now that you showed that one, it just so reminded me. Okay, that is not it. It's not called fancy lobster. It's like rainbow lobster. It's all these colors. So I don't know if you remember back when we were just saying, oh, look, there's a lobster that's blue. Wow. Oh, look, and it would be like some rare one. Oh, here it is. Yes, this is the thing. Then oh my gosh, there's one that's like half blue, half red. So now we have like this kind of thing. Open image. But there's like a whole breed of these now that look like this. Oh yeah, look at it. It does not like me. This is the one I think. It's called yeah, rainbow lobster. What the heck is that? That's not real, is it? Oh, it's on. Yeah, it's a rainbow lobster also. It's just on lettuce. Okay, there's the blue ones. Remember how we're like, oh my gosh, how could there be like, oh, look at that. Is that real? I don't think that's real. No, it's not real. Okay. You can't tell anymore. Solo giant lobsters. Come on. Is that real? I think this is supposed to be real. All right. That's a whole different look than that one. Okay. It's just making me laugh because now there's even more ones that I thought I'd. All right, so those are real then. Spiny lobster known as rock lobster. I think that's the same species I'm talking about, but they have the one I was looking at had like striped legs and more color up here. It didn't have like the butterfly tail though. So, anyways, the days when we went, oh my gosh, it's a blue lobster, are like so long gone now. I wonder if my video is still there saying that. And these are fast growing. They said they grow to like a kilogram in 13 months, 16 months, something like that. So, in other words, you can crank these guys because they used to say, oh, it takes, 10 years to get a big lobster and they're all going to be fished out. And, that didn't happen, did it? Because now it only takes like a year and a half. That's the dude anyway. I guess rainbow lobster is one of the color names for it, but there was another name. So it's got all the colors. All right, that's the one I was looking at, but I accidentally found those other ones. So yeah, crazy town. All right, fancy cuttlefish, we got that. Talking about the UFOs. Hillary is back. What? Oh my gosh. Okay. Shari, you must be a different Shari because didn't you say last week that had just changed and it changed? No, because we were just at. Okay, I know I must have shifted. Maybe it was just me this time. I don't know. So last week I was on, and Shari, you were agreeing with me that it just changed to the double L's. Okay. That was you. Yes, you agreed with me that it just changed to the double L's because we had that one on Recon. So now you can't tell me in the last couple days it changed to the double L's because you told me that last week. It changed a couple days ago from Hillary to Hillary again. Wait. No, that's impossible. That you just said that last week before the other show. Yeah, it's impossible that unless it changed to one L for a couple days and then two L's back over the course of a week. Otherwise, you were a different Shari or I am a different Eva. I would assume that would be and. I'm really curious what what writing is on my last week's show that says you said though. Because it should be on the show in the writing in the corners. All right, let's see. Crown pigeon. Look, they all have those weird eyelid things now. Did birds even have eyelids? I don't think that they really did for me. And then a few of them got it, like the raptors. And then they got those what do you call it? The nictating membranes, and I think that's a regular eyelid and not a nictating. But it's interesting because I keep seeing images of these crazy birds, beautiful bird, on Reddit, and people are like, "Oh, what's wrong with its eye? Ew, its eye is all. It looks like it's blind. It looks like it has cataracts. Ew. No, it's just the nictating membrane. Except for a lot of people never saw a bird with a nictating membrane on it." And so they're all freaked out. So they assume it has like eye damage or something. Everything has a rainbow version. Yeah, we're working on it. I don't know we're going to get like to like that movie Avatar or something. I mean, if you think about it, it could be really beautiful. We just have to clean up the human part, the cities and stuff. So try to imagine a beautiful city also. And you'll see the cities that are showing up all over the world, they're beautiful. It's the old cities. Maybe that's part of the thing. Chicago, Illinois, New York, San Francisco, lots of places in France. They're a mess, but the new cities that I never heard of that are being built in other countries are beautiful. So I don't know, maybe that's just the wave, is that the old stuff has to crash and burn and be rejuvenated. I'm not sure. Yeah, we talked about it last week, right, Shari? I'm sorry. You and me both shift a lot, and so between the two of us, there's a lot of shifties. Fruit Loops change back to Fruit Loops. Maybe Fruit of the Loom will get that. That will be a trip because if that cornucopia comes back, um, what will be the Mandela event like? Where did that cornucopia come from, or will they have remembered like a I don't know, horseback or some weird thing that you put fruits on? Like, oh, I don't then that would be. Just, I feel like that can't stop being a freaky Mandela, but who the heck knows? I mean, I never really thought that the R in turmeric would come back. It was tumor for like 5 years, tumor, and now it's turmeric again. So I guess I kind of had thought maybe stuff shifts back and forth and then just settles, but lately I've been having to pull that assumption back. Okay, it changed once from Hillary to Hillary. All right. Because we talked about this last week, and that was like 7 days ago. So if you said it changed in the last 3 days, then I'm like, what? Because don't you remember you were on Redcon talking about this very thing over a week ago? And then when we had the show last week, you talked about it, and I talked about it. And I was kind of like, okay, because I come from a double L universe. And so for me, long ago, it switched to single L right before the election, then back to double L, and it's been double L this whole time. So I see all these people going, oh my God, it switched from single L to double L. I'm like, that happened like 5 years ago for me, and it's been the same this whole time. So I know there's been a big shift, though, because a whole bunch of people remember as Shari does, like a whole bunch. I'm too low on energy to remember even my name. Yeah, I've been totally, well, quite tired. I wouldn't say totally. It's not as bad as it was in the past, but I have been tired and very spaced out. Very spaced out. And I had a couple nights where I just felt like really intense anxiety and like, I guess I thought I had a reason, but then, on retrospect, I'm like, there was no reason to be that anxious about like a smallish thing, maybe a middling size thing. You don't like freak out like a tiger's gonna chomp your leg off. I mean, like it's like ridiculous. So I don't know, still kind of battling. I never was that anxious a person before either, so it's just weird. And I'll be fine all day, and then there'll just be this period where I feel like super anxious, and then I'll find it, kind of beat it down and sort it out and go, this is ridiculous, and and it'll settle down. But then I'll try to sneak back. But then I'll get I'll get past that time, and then I'll be fine. Like right now, I didn't have to battle anxiety. I just don't feel any, So it's weird how that is. Turmeric is on my nerves. I want turmeric back. Yeah, see, turmeric. Okay, turmeric is my original one, and then it was tumor for forevers for 5-6 years, and so now I'm actually back to my original turmeric. So I had to live with the tumor for like years. Kindergarten. Yeah, so for me it was garden originally. Kindergarten. So I saw like it's a young garden. And then all of a sudden it was Gar 10. Last I checked, which granted was quite some time ago, it could be either for those. Austin 108's been low energy. Prelim minimal remembers the TEN. Mirror. Something is really worth energy. I'm trying to learn 2 Spanish verbs for the last 7 days. I still can't do it. I don't know if I'm quite that bad, but because I'm good at languages, but I'm definitely having trouble remembering just the simplest thing, like to do stuff. Like I have to bring something to work. or somebody told me I got to do something. And it's like I go into 12 hours of non-functioning brain. And then like today I have to prepare for this show, right? And it was like I didn't even think about it until like 6, and then it's like, oh yeah, I have my show tonight. It's not like I didn't think of it last night, the night before. I mean, like, I know this, but yet why? It's just weird that I usually, when in the past, if I have my show, then when I get up in the morning, I think pretty soon after I wake up, I have my show tonight and I got to get ready. It's not like I don't think about it for 8 hours like I did today. And there's been a lot of that this week. Like, it's completely gone from my mind for like 24 hours, something that I really need to like be doing. Losing my short-term memory. Yeah, that could be it. Like my working memory, it's just a complete space out. It's almost like the last time I was this bad was after my mother died. It was just such an emotional shock that I was just kind of a zombie. I guess it's the zombie apocalypse. But I don't really have a reason to be a zombie right now. Fruit of the loam or the loom? It better be the loom, Loom. I don't know what a loam is. Oh, Istar and Ser. Okay, yeah, I do remember those. I'm all right with the... See, there's that weird error for this week. System detected an overrun. Whatever, it's still working. Yeah, Istar is the temporary version, and Ser is like the permanent. So the thing with those, though, is I don't know if you're trying to remember all the conjugations, but there are a lot of them. The past and then the... Yeah. It's an irregular verb in a bunch of ways. So it's not just 2 words, and it's not just one set of conjugations to learn. So imagine pot addicts. Well, maybe ignorance or missing short-term memory is bliss. I don't know about that, because you don't get stuff done, and then at the last minute you're like, Plus, it is a little spooky to me when I do finally remember, like, how did I not think of that for all of this time? Like, yeah, the conjugations. There's a lot to remember with Sarah and Istar with the conjugations. So I had to learn all that for to speak Spanish, like from Mexico. We learned Mexico style Spanish because Mexico is just south of here, so it's close to Spain Spanish. But it's been a long time, but I do remember, and I won't say that I remember all the conjugations. Like I remember most of the present conjugations in Spanish, but frankly, I just haven't had to use it in like decades. So that does definitely degrade the memory. Learning the Spanish. Yeah, everybody learns the Mexican Spanish here because like 99% of the people speaking Spanish here are from Mexico or South America. And if they're further past Mexico, then they have their own kind of Spanish that isn't really Spain Spanish or Mexican Spanish. So all right, so what's up with the thumbnail? This thing, and you're right, it is in Iran. Sharp eyes. It's a weird looking thing. What in the heck? Okay, I've never seen these, so I don't know. They're the world's believed to be the world's oldest windmills, and they're in Nashtifan. I hopefully not pronouncing it too bad. Nashtifan, Iran, in the gold deserts in the Iranian plateau, along with the skirts of Nashtifan country. Okay, so anyway, they're supposed to be 1,000 years old. Home to primary functional windmills in the world. So these are a different kind of windmill. Instead of having, like the tower and then a fan blades, these are like directly powered. So the wind pushes. I'm assuming that these mud sidings are to kind of direct the wind. The ones here that have all of the up and down, add additional wood pieces are the functioning ones. I'm pretty sure this one's non-functioning. The thing is, I've never seen these things before in my life. I've never seen these direct drive. I'm calling them direct drive. I'm not sure what they call them. I think they're calling them upright. The reason I'm calling direct drive is because this spins the rod, and then the rod goes down in here, and it's absolutely, you know, just then you have the grinding wheel at the bottom, and it grinds. So it doesn't have to have like a change in direction, and you don't need like, it's just like a simpler version. So supposedly these are a little less efficient because they can only go as fast as the wind blows, and they have to battle any winds coming from the back can slow them. But supposedly it's fine for here because this area has a whole ton of wind, and it almost always comes from the same direction. I am suspicious, though, about maybe these being more efficient in this current physics universe that we're in. We've definitely seen the wind acting a little bit different. It seems a little strange to me to think that they're kind of ramshackle. I mean, like, when they slap these wood pieces on here, it's not like the fanciest thing in the universe either. So would this have moved in my old reality? Would it move with enough power to really haul butt? You know, and you can see these are pretty big. They're what, two men tall or something. But still, this is a bizarre looking thing. Now I'm assuming they're dented here to catch the rain and direct it, which if they don't get much rain, that would be smart, right? Because you can, even if you don't want to drink it, you could use it to like water the animals or grow some plants. You can see there's not really a bunch of plants here. But I mean, if they keep the top clean, then they could probably just drink that. I mean, it might taste a little bit clay tasty, but I mean, it's not going to kill you. Vertical, that's what they're calling. Vertical windmills, a legacy from Persians for the world. So did Persians invent windmills? I don't know. This is all kind of vaguey about where it came from, but there is a current rumor in the current reality that Persians invented windmills. Today it's Persians, tomorrow it'll be who knows who, aliens, I don't know, but... So yeah, Nashtifan, they're very unique looking. I mean, I just feel like no matter how bad your memory is, if you ever saw these 1,000-year-old still functioning windmill. Now the story on these is not that they were found and fixed. Supposedly they've been using them this whole time, which is also very interesting. Of course, there's this story, oh no, you know, if he can't find somebody to carry on the tradition, surely they will fall into disrepair or something. But you know how the current reality loves that kind of thing. I'm trying to find, somewhere they had some nice images of the insides. You could see. A lot of people don't really realize that most of the people who watch my show are a little older, but windmills, you know, were originally invented to like mill stuff. So you could kind of see here. So this is the fan. The wind blows, turns this thing. Woo. This turns the rod in direct drive, which turns this grinding wheel, and then they just feed grain onto there, and the grain gets ground up, and assumedly falls down into some trays or something down here. There's a funnel here, so I guess that would be it. And that's the point, is to, you know, instead of having to sit here and grind it, you make the wind do all the work. So they also had water, you know, mills that ran from the rivers, but obviously Iran's not exactly rolling in rivers, so that's why they used the wind. So these are actually, you know, fairly large, because this is a door, right? So then this is going to be 2 stories high. That's another couple stories high. And there's a couple levels to some of these also. So it's not a tiny thing. And I was kind of hoping I would run into like what this is made out of. Is it like some kind of mud brick or adobe? It kind of looks like it's adobe. yet I couldn't really find any real storyline on what it was made out of. I'm going to guess it's some kind of adobe, which is like kind of a clay mud brick stuff. So it would need kind of regular maintenance because you have to schlep out here and like slap new mud brick on here occasionally because the rain kind of washes it and erodes it. So you have to like mix up more and splack it on there. Near Afghanistan. Let's see. Oh, Shari, never heard of it. I thought you would know if it was around, Shari. So that makes me very much suspect that it is a Mandela because I think you would have known about that. So yeah, world's oldest windmills, and it's not tiny. Let's see. Let me just get some. When I had some stuff written down, didn't I? No, only that it was over, well, they estimate it's over 1,000 years old. The small village of Nashtifan is keeping ancient traditions alive. 65-foot tall earthen wall shelters residents from the abrasive gales. The high wall houses 24 mostly functional vertical axis windmills that date back to ancient Persian times. It is estimated the structures made of clay, straw, and wood are around 1,000 years old. So, okay, so there it is. They're clay, straw, and wood. So it's like an adobe mud brick kind of deal. The area is known for its uniquely powerful winds. And in fact, the name Nashtifan is derived from the words that translates to storm's sting. During turbulent winter months, the handcrafted wooden blades whirl with surprising velocity and power grindstones and a marvel of engineering and passive ventilation. With periodic repairs to turbines, these well-built earthen structures could go on for centuries, so long as there are caretakers willing to maintain them. The tall walls support the turbines and funnel the airflow. Yes, as I suspected. The Persian design is powered by drag as opposed to lift. And since the blades are arrayed on a vertical axis, energy is translated down the mast to the grindstone without the need for any of the intermediary gears found on horizontal axis windmills. Yeah, that's what I meant by direct drive. You don't need to do that stuff. The windy pride of Nashtifan. The structures are doted on by an amiable custodian named Ali Mohammed Etebari, who estimates that the parts of the earthen windmills are 1,000 years old. Etebari draws no salary from his unofficial village occupation, but told a film crew with International Wood Culture Society with a raspy laugh and finger jab, "If I don't look after them, the youngsters will come and spoil it and break everything." Sounds like crabby old people. I'm starting to get like that sometimes too. Young people these days. Imagine. I'm thinking about this and like, I did not really find that cannabis made me feel that much better. Like, I didn't really like not having a short-term memory. Like, you space out and stuff. And that's, I think, the reason why I kind of liked it occasionally in college once in a blue moon, but frankly, I wasn't a huge fan of that aspect. It's like I felt like I was just kind of stupid. That was my feeling when I smoked pot. So that's why I wasn't really a big fan. I'm like, I don't hate feeling stupid, but I don't like it, like, I hate feeling stupid when it's not on purpose. When you're smoking pot, you at least know you have an excuse to be stupid, but I didn't really love the feeling, so that's why. It looks much easier than German. I don't know. Yeah, it's probably easier than German just because the spelling is a lot easier. German just, the spelling. Oh, yes, I saw that Mitch McConnell thing. Yeah, that was interesting. So apparently, those of you who don't know, Mitch McConnell is kind of a well-known politician that's been on the Republican side for many decades. And I guess about a year ago or something, he fell and hit his head and had a concussion, and he is no spring chicken. I don't know, is it like 80 or something? And was it today, very recently, last very short period of time, he was giving one of his boring little plather speeches, like, I think it was just some boring announcement thing. And he just said a few words and just froze. Like his mouth stopped moving, stared out in space. I mean, this is not a conspiracy theory or weird video. He actually did. He just, and so people are saying it looks just like a petit mal seizure, which would be the same as they now call it an absence seizure. So from his perspective, it's like a complete space out, basically. It's interesting for me because I remember petit mal having seizures showing more twitching and stuff. Like it would be, petit mal used to be minor twitching, and the grand mal would be like major twitching for a seizure. But now apparently for petit mal, you may not move at all, and you just look like you spaced out. So basically, just went into la la land, and then after some long seconds of not saying anything, people around him are like, Mr. McConnell, are you done speaking? Kind of, and then he was like, and then he kind of came back enough to realize that maybe he should go. I don't know, but anyways, he says, "Oh, I'm done," something like that, and he left, and then came back and he said, "I'm fine," but yeah, he did seem to have like a petit mal seizure or a absence seizure. But it's interesting just for me because I feel like this whole concept of a petit mal and how it looks has changed greatly for me. And so he probably has some damage from that concussion he got. He's not a spring chicken. Who the heck knows? Yeah, it looks like Tatooine. Yes, Iran. So, I don't know if you know, but those in Hollywood kind of know why are there so many movies that take place out in like the desert? And it's pretty simple. There's a lot of desert and very dry territory around Hollywood. It's not expensive to find a movie set out there. If you're doing background sets for a desert, it's very cheap. You're doing the jungle, you need 10,000 trees and all this stuff. So basically, you save a lot of money if you do desert scenes. So that's why Tatooine was probably Tatooine. And a movie like Avatar costs $1 bajillion because the environment is so much harder to create. So yeah, Tatooine is basically the desert Southwest. They probably have a lot of those kind of movies like in Iran and stuff too, because it's the same thing, They can just go out into the backyard and shoot it, All our politicians are way too old. I know it's not very libertarian, but I think anyone over 70 shouldn't be allowed to run for office. I don't know, as a libertarian, I'm still like, people should vote for who they want to vote for. And I'd rather vote for somebody I like who's 70 than somebody I hate that's 30. So I think the age of them, I think, is not really the actual problem. I think it's all the rest of the corruption. And they're in there because they're so powerful and because of all the corruption. So as you age, you get more power and you're able to have more connections, and that's all because of the corruption. Well, not all, but it has a lot to do with that. So I suspect that that's really the reason that these old people are able to stay in there so long. And if you get rid of all the corruption, that I think that problem will automatically fix itself. Yeah, I looked it up and people were saying, oh, it's an absence seizure. And then I looked it up and it said formerly called petit mal. So that was a new one on me too. I never actually heard of an absence seizure. So I was looking it up. Like, what's an absence seizure? Because somebody said that's a petit mal and somebody else said it's an absence seizure. I'm like, well, who's right? And it turns out they both are. And I was like, yeah, I was a little wondering about that too. So, yeah. Why are politicians like Mitch McConnell so boring? Well, political speeches are famously boring. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's boring job. It's boring. That's why it's boring. The whole thing is boring. Unless you like that kind of thing. But for the majority of us, it's boring. It's like being It's like being an accountant. I mean, for most people, that's boring. I know some people who like numbers and they find it comforting to get all the numbers to match and to sort the puzzle. But for most of us, we're like, ew. There must be something in the cigarette that's good for us. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made it so expensive. It is a little bit tricky to assume that everything they're against is good for you. I mean, it could be that they're actually against it, and it's still bad for you. But it also could be that, the problems were all the poisons that they added into the tobacco. And the tobacco in a pure form without all the pesticides and stuff might have been much safer. I've also definitely seen a number of studies that showed that if you ate healthy, like for instance, there was one that showed if you fed a lot of coconut oil and natural source saturated fat versus like seed oils like soybean and stuff, that you would find virtually no damage from stuff like cigarette smoking versus the control arm that ate the seed oils and stuff. So it could just be that the problems that we see now, the majority of them are from a combination of cigarettes, tobacco, all the crap they put in with the tobacco, and a huge range of other things in the environment that are extremely unhealthy and make us weak and not able to tolerate the minor insult of the tobacco. It could be all those things. I think we'll just have to wait and see how it all spins out. Now, I'm not telling people to run out and smoke because, even if that is the case, all of those unhealthy things are still around us now, generally. So, wouldn't risk it. How can you believe everything happening here is on purpose and was supposed to exist? It's easy to say that, but then I look at human choice and what we do. So, like, why do people choose to climb Mount Everest? I mean, to me, it sounds absolutely miserable. You could, like, die. You could have permanent frostbite damage for the rest of your life and nerve damage. It seems absolutely miserable the whole time. And for what? So you can see the view from the top? I mean, I can see that on video. Why do people do it? Yet a lot of people do. Okay, so maybe you don't want to do a whole Mount Everest thing, but I also will sometimes climb up hills and I'll be like, I'm just going to make it to the top of that hill. Even though I'm really tired, it's only a little while, I'm just going to push it. Why do I even care if I make it to the top of the hill? I mean, there's just something about humans that we want these challenges. And sometimes it's not even miserable. I mean, why do people run marathons? Why do they do all these sports that are exhausting and sometimes dangerous? Why do you go watch horror movies? Why do so many humans love to watch horror movies? Why do we like to go on scary rides? I mean, like, there's all this crap we do that makes no sense if we really want peace and quiet. We like to why do we like scary stories at all? I mean, obviously we are attracted to scary crap and the whole thrill of it. So maybe that's why it's around us in the world. Global warming, you're going to die. Oh, New World Order, they're going to take over. Maybe the thrill, maybe we create those thrills because we're attracted to those thrills. A lot of the truth community can insist this reality was hijacked. Yeah, I think it might be the dark side of us that does the hijacking, though. So if you look at, like, if energies increase and everything is exponentially expanded, so the good and the bad and the ugly are all going to expand. So we've seen some beautiful things and some horrible things. So we've seen some amazing new inventions, the beauty of a lot of things, of all these rainbow everything and these crazy beautiful environment that's growing. But we also see horrible things like worse wars, more corruption, all those things. But yet I look at my life right here and it hasn't really moved that much. It's all out there on the screen. So I think it might just be both the good and the bad have been energized. So the extremes, the divisions, everybody is just more adamant about stuff. Anyway, I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure, but that's one of my theories. My favorite one right now probably is something like that. Nicotine used to be said to help with psychosis. Everyone in mental institutions used to smoke. Maybe that is why we see more craziness. Yeah, I don't know. Nicotine is a mild stimulant. It's very addictive. I think it might be the most addictive thing I've ever tried. My friend had his vape, and he had it had the nicotine in it, and so they don't taste bad and they don't hurt your lungs. Like, you don't feel pain, right? So I tried a big whiff of it, and it was very interesting because first my brain's like, oh, like it is a stimulant. It was a very interesting experience, and because he smokes regularly, so his brain's a little more used to it, but mine was like virgin. So yes, there was a huge buzz, and then like right after it was over, I was sort of like, I could do that again. Like literally right after, I was already starting to feel the first scratchings of the addiction. So yeah, I don't want to do it for that reason, because I could see how now 5 minutes later, I had already, that little craving had passed, but I could totally see how easy it would be to just do it again and be addicted. And I just don't want to do that. Nicotine with vitamin B3 helps with psychosis. I know, but then just take the vitamin B3. I mean, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that helps with psychosis, like a whole bunch. Like stimulants in general help with brain function, for starters. So like caffeine and every other stimulant, when you're talking about brain function, almost all the stimulants assist with, during the time they're in your system, they help with it. And vitamin B1 and like a bajillion other things. So I would definitely try all those first. Definitely. Cocoa leaves were used in South America as medicine. Yeah, it definitely could be well, we do see that when they refine it and take away all of the natural secondary plant chemicals, and it becomes a lot different of a beast than it was when it was just in leaf form. Interesting fact, Mount Everest is no longer the tallest mountain now that they measure underwater mountains. Yes, that has been on. I do find that quite interesting. I take B12 and D3. Yes, I do. I do take all the Bs. Well, most of the Bs. I've actually was just looking into seeing if I need to take more, like B9. I had this like all the Bs, but then I'm just realizing that all the Bs aren't in there. Just most of the Bs. I definitely do good with B vitamins, though. If you have like some kind of tired mitochondria, anything like that, B vitamins do help, especially B12, B1. And I take magnesium, and it has D3, so. Okay, so anyway, we got those amazing windmills. What else do we have today? This one was interesting. So it came up on another show I was watching that wasn't really about Mandela, and so first there was the Book of Enoch. I don't remember that existing like 30 years ago. Now there's one called Book of Giants that's starting to like be as well known, supposedly forever, like Book of Enoch. So I don't remember there being that much about this Nephilim in the Bible and stuff. But now there's a whole freaking book on it. And it was in one of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it was in Manichaean, our literature known as Turfan. It was known as Turfan in that, and originates in Aramaic in the Dead Sea Scrolls. There's references to it in Genesis and the books of Enoch. Jubilee, Genesis, Apocryphon. Genesis, Apocryphon. I don't think I remember that one either. 3 Baruch. That's Slavonic. The Damascus document. It's like, I've never heard of any of these. Okay. Visions in Daniel. Okay. But basically, it's a whole big spiel about the story of the giants. If you're not up in all this stuff, for me, it's only been around the last like 4 or 5 years. So it's kind of like I'm hearing a lot of it for the first time in the last few years. But now there's the story of, all these other creatures that came to Earth, mated with man. The offspring were like a type of giants. Supposedly they ate all the food, and then humans turned against them because if you're a giant, you eat a lot of food, and we didn't have enough food for those little greedy guys. And so now the story in this book apparently is that God punished them by wiping them out, and that was all wrapped in with the whole floods thing, and that Noah knew for a long time that the floods were going to come, and I don't know the whole thing, but it's apparently, let's see, it's been known as the Middle Iranian work, and I'm not even sure the Iranian languages. So it's in it's some kind of Iranian book also. But I just thought it was really interesting because I just don't remember there being that whole story totally settled about. Of course, it's not in the official Bible, but it may as well have been now. And it's also a Jewish book. So, all that little stuff that's in the Bible where you're like, where did that come from? Well, there's all books to explain it now. And one of them is this Book of Giants. So, I don't know. We're going to start finding more and more giant stuff in the past. It does seem like we're getting that. The Book of Enoch mysteriously appeared around 2013. Yeah. So, this Book of Giants is like another one like Book of Enoch. So I just started hearing all this Book of Enoch stuff, and now I'm hearing all this Book of Giants stuff. So vitamin S for sunlight. Yeah, I do try to go out in the sun regularly. It's getting a little harder right now that it's 100 degrees out, and I don't want to go out in the middle of the day. We got our swamp cooler kind of all sorted out, and the bottom floor is pretty decent. And yeah. In the winter, I like going out for a midday walk, but have you heard of fulvic acid? So fulvic, humeric and fulvic. So yeah, when I first heard of that, a year ago, and it's kind of a weird thing where they're basically, it's like trace minerals, basically. That's the easiest way I could say it. I have tried it. I did not notice any difference at all in my health whatsoever. So there's a lot of things that I have tried that I do notice a difference in my health, and I'm going to stick with those because I just did not notice anything with the humic and fulvic. I like to get sun for my vitamin D. I mean, I go out a couple times a week. I'm not going out every day now because it's effing hot. And I take some D, so I should be all right with D. So, sunlight's interesting because I think I've mentioned there is currently evidence just discovered that you need red light. You need red light rays from the sun in order to get a certain antioxidant created in the cells, and that is intracellular melatonin. There is no known solution for that other than red light. So you can get it from the sun or you can get it from a red light emitter, but you can't get that stuff into your cells. It is made in the cell with red light. So that's another vote for vitamin S, because now you'll get vitamin D, you'll get intracellular melatonin, and who knows what else is going to show up. I have a very strong suspicion that there will be more benefits to the sun coming out over time. Yeah, see, I've never heard of the Book of Giants, though. So there's a whole book on it. So for a while, there was just a couple sentences here and there in the Bible, but now there's a whole freaking book on it. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of overheating, though. Although I have to say, where is that thing? This is so cheesy, okay? This is so cheesy, but I love it. I'll show you this. This. I got this from Amazon. It's like $21, and it is a neck fan. So when you push this button, air shoots out of these, and so you put it on and you just turn it on and it blows air. And you know what? There's 3 settings. It's nice. You plug it into the USB port on your computer, so it just charges. You don't have to use batteries. It just recharges. I love it. It was only 21 bucks. I actually got a second one, so I'll always have one charged. And so it makes it a lot easier to go out walking when it's hot. You have a fan on your neck. On the low setting, it runs about 8 hours, so it is very nice. Yeah, I do get my folic acid. I'm good on my folic acid, actually. I never heard of fulvic acid until 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and I don't like call it acid. I feel like it's just like trace minerals that apparently come from a certain source where it's all supposed to be broken down. And I don't know. You know, all I know is I didn't notice anything, so. I'll tell you another thing weird though. Like I said it a couple months ago. I don't burn anymore. It feels hot, but I can also. A few months ago, I could look right into the sun, and it doesn't hurt my eyes anymore. And for years, I'd be like, it got worse and worse, and now I literally. The sun. One of the things we have here is the sun sets, and if I'm heading towards the ocean, the sun's setting behind the ocean, and the sun's right in your eyes for the whole trip. So for 20 minutes, you're like, put down the visor. It doesn't bug me now. Like, I literally, if some of it peeks through the visor, I don't care. There's no pain. It doesn't, I'm like, either my eyes are dead or they're amazing. I don't know what it is. I mean, I try not to look at it too much just because who knows if it's unhealthy, but it just doesn't hurt anymore. Just like that. One day, I'm like, oh, this is going to suck. Didn't suck. So, I don't know. So, yes, I do like my neck fan. There's a number of them. Let me see which. Well, I don't know. I guess you could just kind of look at this one, but there's different ones on there, but I really like that one. And somebody I know got this one, and that's why I got it, because she liked hers. So I don't even know if that's the best one, but it's worth it. I mean, you're not gonna feel like you're in a totally air conditioned 60-degree room, but it definitely takes the edge off. And then you're like, is it doing anything? And you take it off, and then that heat hits your neck, and you're like, I'm putting it back on. Yes, it is doing something. Yeah, so it's headphones for the neck. Yeah, it's not Bose. It's not Bose. It's just some cheap thing from Amazon. That's all it was. There's more than one of them up there selling. So, yes, it makes the going out into the sun a little nicer. And you ever go out and exercise a lot and you're like really hot and just like, and that I could put that neck fan on and it really cools it down fast. Okay, so Book of Giants, what the hell? There must be a bunch more of these too. Which ones are going to like show up next? I don't know. Like half of this stuff I never even heard of. The Damascus document, ancient Hebrew text. All this Dead Sea Scrolls stuff is weird for me because they hadn't even really started translating it, and you can see it's just scraps. So how do you have the whole story when there's just like scruffy scraps and words missing, and so then it shows up there, but then they're like, oh, but actually it's in the old Jewish text and it's here and here and here. I'm like, well, so then the Dead Sea Scrolls isn't even that important a source of it, right? Okay, where are we here? This one. Should I do that one? I definitely want to do this one. I had this one on maybe a year ago. And it was basically that Rhode Island was always called State of Rhode Island and Provincial Plantations. So Rhode Island, which is a state in the United States, which we always remembered it as being called Rhode Island, is now, well, it was a year ago, suddenly, state of, I actually remember it being Rhode Island Provincial Plantations. Okay, that's what I remember. But now it was always State of Rhode Island and Provincial Plantations. Instead of Rhode Island and Provincial Plantations, it was State of. It's getting longer. But here's the weird thing, okay? So now it always was, except for in 2020, they changed it. So like just a year ago, I found out it was Rhode Island and Provincial Plantations. And now, 3 years ago, they changed it so it was no longer Rhode Island Provincial. But now it is State of Rhode Island. The official name is State of Rhode Island. So I'm like, first it shows up, and then backwards in time, they changed it to not be there anymore. That's where we are now. So tiny Rhode Island has become the first of the 50 U.S. states to ever change its name. Even many Americans don't realize that Rhode Island, the smallest U.S. state by area, actually had a longer official name until last year. State of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations. Province. God, I thought it was provincial. Providence Plantations. Okay, whatever. But in a referendum in November 3, the same day as the 2020 U.S. presidential election, the states vote to amend the state constitution and shorten the name to State of Rhode Island. So now it's called State of Rhode Island. So whatever I said last year was probably all wrong according to the current timeline, although that's all I found then was, did you know that that's the name? So not only is it the name, but then it's not the name. So that the story is they changed it because the word plantations is kind of got some controversy with the current woke storyline and kind of correlation with the concept of slavery and stuff. So that's why they changed it. Except for last year, it hadn't been changed, and now it was changed in 2020. It's making me crazy. In summer, a steam sauna is cooler than outdoors here. Yeah. See, now why don't you just go out in the sun? Yeah, because you might say that logically, but your brain says, heck no, I ain't going out there. So it's now State of Rhode Island as of 2020 because they voted it in 2020 to be State of Rhode Island. So I remember, like, the state of is part of the new Mandela, and the fact that they voted in 2020 to get rid of that other piece is also the Mandela for me today. Well, I still blame the Anunnaki-Orion wars. The Orion arm is all jacked up. I don't know. Yeah, the aliens stole my Sagittarius arm. They had to cool the swimming pool so you could swim here. Sorry, I have to admit that is the first time I have ever heard of that. That you have to cool the swim. That's a whole new tech that we don't have here. I have to admit, yes. I do know it's extremely hot in some of those countries in the summer. I understand. And I don't think I'd make it because I think if you don't grow up there and get a certain tolerance, you could keel over. I wonder if adapting to summer weather shores up your body's immune defenses. I don't know. I wonder what tech do you even use? It's like you have to kind of... I'm just thinking, I'm like, I've never even seen a swimming pool cooler before. That's going to have to be a tech that they only even use in some areas. I mean, I guess you could make cold water for drinks, so you should be able to make cold water for swimming pools. All right. So that one's a little trippy. This one I kind of covered before, but it's kind of really expanded a little, and since there was nothing else going on, I went ahead and covered it. Okay, so this one is from Sapioid. Found this one. Oh, and before I go on, I almost forgot. I don't know why I keep almost forgetting, but so IMEC is having another Mandela conference, and it is in the beginning of September over the Memorial Day weekend. Let's see if I can find their thing. I meant to have this pulled up, and I don't know why it keeps slipping my mind because I was supposed to mention it last week. So they're having it in Connecticut, not IMAC. Let's see. More than one IMEC in the universe here. Here we go. Now I hope they have the new one up already. So I went to this one. They had one 2019, right before the pandemic. I'm really glad I did go. It was very fun. They do have, speakers and the whole thing. It is actually really quite professionally done. So this is the 2023 one. Doinks. So it's IMEC 2023 International Mandela Effect Conference. Location, Branford, Connecticut. So you could fly into Branford. I don't think you really need the map, but Labor Day weekend, September 2 through 4. So I know they're going to have speakers. I don't know exactly who all the speakers are, but they had a lot of the well-known people last year. So theme this year is Decoding the Matrix. What is real? How do you define real? What does it mean when your reality is shifting? So yeah, it was really fun when I went, and I'm really glad I did because, who knew that we're going to have years of baloney. And it's very fun to talk with other people on it. Like, you usually can't just have a conversation about the Mandela. And we did have some interesting kind of little mini Mandelas that happened while we were there, too. And we kind of got together. We'd had a lot of, after the conference dinners and hanging out and doing stuff. So it was a lot of fun. So would recommend. I'm going to do my best to go to this one also this year. Seth MacFarlane from Family Guy is from Rhode Island. Wonder if he remembers. Yeah, who is from Rhode Island? Do you remember your old name? Do you remember the 2020 change? Eliza Pow. Just remembered it was Wednesday. Yes. Time has just been weird. So I went to my aerobics yesterday, and it felt like 100 years since I've been to an aerobics. So it wasn't one of those really fast weeks last week too. I feel like my whole sense of time is messed up. I don't have I used to know how much time had passed. I have a feeling, it's been a couple of hours. It's been 4 hours. I've just lost that. I don't have that ability anymore. Even when I sleep, I wake up. I'm like, has it been 8 hours? Has it been 2 hours? How long has it been asleep? I have no idea. I have to look at the clock. Have you seen the photos of Jamie Foxx? Aha, you spell it the old way. He's got 2 X's on his little foxy name now, which is a Mandela for me. Jamie Foxx before and after going to the hospital. Yeah, it looks like a whole nother dude. Yeah, he's white. Okay, so this all brings up some stuff for me, Shari, that I don't understand, because basically if you've seen these photos, these images of people as they go on meth, and then their face changes, and they start out looking normal, and then by the time they're done, their face is all caved in. But how can your face cave in that much? Because here's my cheekbones, and there's only this much skin between the edge of my cheek, the bone that's under there. There's this much skin. So if there's not hardly any fat, but say that fat all went away, and I could definitely see that maybe my cheeks would cave in. But these bones here and these bones here, they shouldn't go anywhere. I mean, like, I don't see how my face could get much thinner than it is. Now, yeah, the middles could thin out, under here could thin out, maybe they would get hollow under here, but these bones shouldn't move. So what I don't understand is when I see these images of meth heads and their face just gets so narrow. Like, how is that even possible? I don't remember that being possible like 10 years ago. So when I look at Jamie Foxx, and they have an image of him now, and his face is all caved in, and it looks much narrower. And even those, I suspect, may well be fake images that they had shown a couple videos of him lately from afar, where he looked totally normal in himself, and now he finally gave a statement, and he looks like a whole nother guy. His skin is white, like he can't produce melanin anymore. I mean, I swear to God, he's like paler than I am almost. He's still got the black people nose and features, but his skin, what the hell? Are you too sick to make melanin? I mean, like, how do you turn into white skin almost? I mean, he's got that tone of a really light-skinned black person, which is not the exact same skin tone as a white person because it's not as pinkish, but he does not look like the old guy at all. His face is too narrow, but yet I see that meth heads change that much now. How? So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a different guy. He looks totally different. Okay, meth, but yeah, I mean, that was even 5 years ago I saw those. So yeah, but fent, can that like make your bones cave in? I mean, I haven't heard that your whole face just like, does this, you know what I mean? Like, how is that possible? I have yet to hear the story that explains. Ears are not the same shape. I'm going to have to look into that. Something really weird going on with Jamie Foxx, though. I mean, seriously. And see, the thing, though, is if they put another guy on, wouldn't they just put up enough, like, rouge on his face to give him the black skin that he's supposed to have? I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, so that doesn't make sense either. If they're trying to pass somebody off as Jamie Foxx, and would not they do the simplest little things like slap some makeup on? Like, even I, a non-professional scammer that has no experience in scamming, can think of these things. Oh, they couldn't be that stupid, right? All right, Jamie Foxx. All right, we're going to have to do the Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx. Remember, 2 X's. 2 X's in the name now. I don't remember anybody having a name Foxx. Okay, so that's how he used to look. Now, let me see if there's going to show me a picture of... And frankly, I'm not like a Jamie Foxx expert, but the reason that I kind of paid more attention is because there's been all this weird stuff. So basically, he suddenly was in the hospital, and then they weren't saying why, and then they were saying like, oh, he's fine, he's out playing pickleball. I'm like, if he's out playing pickleball, then let's see some video of him playing pickleball. And then finally, they released some video of him from like really far away. All right, let me put the Google because I'm not finding. And then I'm like, that could be anybody, or it could be old footage. It seemed really just weird that he didn't have any live interviews or anything. If he's like playing golf and pickleball, but he can't give a live interview, yeah. So then they just kept saying all this vague stuff, and people would visit him in the hospital and say he was really bad shape. And then, of course, there was a whole question about whether there was a vaccine injury. Of course, I would never claim that the stuff wasn't safe and effective, because, of course, it is. So I don't want to get my... YouTube will delete my channel if I don't say that. So, okay, so that's what he looks like now, okay? So let's look at the before and after, all right? Let's just pull up the before and after so I can make it clear. Because it didn't look like him. All right, so you see the before. His face is like reasonably filled out, right? Yep. All right, that's him before, and that's him now. Okay, so you can't help but notice that his skin is like many shades lighter than it's ever been in the history of ever for Jamie. I'm kind of looking at these ears because you said his ears look different. I don't know. They look. All right. They do look plastered back more. But see, it depends on the lens, because the lens will make your face kind of bend differently if you have. Let me see what else we got here. What other video do we have? I want to see if there's another video of him besides the sickly one. You know, you're right. His ears are more on his side of his face than they used to be. So did his face just collapse or what? I mean, is that even possible, or is it a different guy? So there's no images of his face looking like that. I mean, he definitely looks messed up. And it really just doesn't look like him. So with voice, you know, with voice modulation and stuff, if it sounds like him means nothing anymore, because even a mid-grade quality, they can change the face or the voice to sound just like him. Now the nose looks very similar, but again, I mean, like, but then if they were going to do all that, then why not just put a filter on to make his face look like he used to look? So that's another thing that confuses me. If you're going to fake it, then do a better job.
Jamie Foxx.
All right. I don't want to hear the yapping. All right, stop. I don't want to play it. I just want to see. It's really obnoxious. All right, never mind. So yeah, I don't know. That's another one. That's like, did they replace him? But then we see that so many people, even close to us, like myself, I know my face has changed a lot. People around me's face have changed a lot. Like my best friend's face changed a lot, and her and I mean, I am close to nobody because I've only got, what, 10,000 followers on YouTube. She has no followers. She's retired and only a few friends. So there is no way that the powers that be replaced Lori, my friend, with like a doppelganger. There is absolutely no way that happened, at least from any conventional perspective, why they would do that. So we see that regular people's faces and everything really change, and they change into a different personality. So, it could happen with these stars also, right? I don't know. I don't know what to think. I mean, if I didn't have the Mandela and see all that, then it would be much easier for me to just say, yeah, they replaced him. But I don't know anymore. I just don't know what to say. All I know is he does not look like that no more. And his face does not look like that no more. I'm going to leave iMac up to remind you guys. So he did in this one speak clearly, but here is my concern now because of the video alterations they can do. You can go on and I could make a speech where I stutter, mumble, and screw things up, and they could run through that and they could fix it. And they could make my voice sound like anybody else. I could sound like Bill Clinton. Okay, they can make my voice and my mouth move and it sounds like I'm Bill Clinton and speaking like him. And they could make my face look like Miss America, okay? with Bill Clinton's voice, and you would not know by the time they were done, because by the time they crunched it, you know, you would only know because that's impossible that Miss America sounds like Bill Clinton. But if they picked a better voice or an original voice, you would not know. But if they were, like I said, if they're going to do all that, then wouldn't they do a better job? Or are they just trying to get this guy to be slid in the spot, and so they don't want to have him wear makeup every time? I just don't know what to think about it. And he'd be going in the hospital in critical conditions, coming out as a totally different person. So in the old days, I would say not so much, but in the current era, I do see that. And in fact, that's how one of my friends is not really a close friend of mine anymore, because when he went, you know, almost died, came out of the hospital, and he's a different person. Like, personality. He still looks the same, but his personality is totally different. He has very little interest in socializing with anybody, as far as I can tell, not just myself. So that guy, and he's crabby. So I don't know. But I mean, did your face cave in, and your face is like smaller than it was before? Do you not have black people's skin as much anymore? I mean, if I come out and, I mean, that's really pale. I'm sorry, but if he's been out for months and months, if he's sitting there yapping away, I would think that his skin would have started up with the melanin production again. It's very weird how, unless he's almost dead, you know. I mean, you know, like the hell. I have just never known a black person to get so pale like that. Because okay, so if you're a white person and you get sick, and maybe your blood and everything is not working really well, and your skin is so white that a lot of the internal color comes through. So a lot of why you look so pale is that their skin itself doesn't have that much color, and now the blood flow and everything is not contributing as much. But if you're a black person, you have the melanin in there. That melanin should still be in there, kind of covering over whatever's going on inside. I just have never seen a black person become really pale before, so I'm really suspicious about that. I mean, if a black person dies, they're still the same color. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like, so how did you get so white? You know, I mean, like, unless some kind of illness comes out that explains that, or is that a new thing for the timeline? I don't know. He just did a movie about clones. No way! I didn't know that. That is very interesting. That is very interesting. Yeah, so he when he was talking in that one, his voice and both sides of his face worked, and he wasn't slurring his words at all. So it's not signs of a stroke, at least in that video. But like I said, what if they just made it look better, because it's so easy to do now? I just assume everything online is AI now. I assume anything online could be AI. I won't know, but even his eye color is not the same. Oh, good point. Good point. Good point. You know what? Maybe I'll just do this one later, because I'm like all interested in this Jamie Foxx. Is it live or is it Mandela Effects? All right. Eyes. I'm going to try to find a natural image of him, because a lot of these released ones are altered to be, you know, they're touched up on Photoshop and stuff. Okay, so that one's pretty weird. That one looks like it was touched up, actually, because where's, like, where is his pupil? I think there's a light right in his pupil, but, gosh, it almost looks like they plathered brown on that one before releasing it. I think that's it. Okay, let's try. I want one where he's just goofing around. Ugh, there's an ugly looking haircut. Okay, I think I just can't understand the millennial style as I'm just too old to understand all the millennial preferences. And that one haircut definitely was like, no. Dang it. See, that one was my best shot at something that wasn't going to be manipulated. And then I looked at it and it looked manipulated. So now I'm like, eyes too small, eyes covered. All right, well, let's just say maybe not that one. Is that the one I just did? I'm like, ugh. Isn't that the one I just did? Or he has really weird eyes. All right, I'm doing this one then. Open image. You can't really see anything on that one. This one might work. This is a good chance if it's a wallpaper, it's been fixed though. All right, this is my last chance. You know, he just has weird eyes. He has this weird brown in there. That's weird. All right. Google. You know, it occurs to me, though, in the current timeline, they do say that eye color can change with health. So even if his eye color changed, it is not a smoking gun. Insects in here. You know, and it's tiny. You know, the other thing that got me is if you watch this video, it's kind of done as if it's a selfie. He's kind of has his arm forward. But then the more I watch it, I'm pretty sure that he's not actually holding the phone. Because the phone doesn't, like, move and the angle's a little off. At no point does any of his arms or anything move. He doesn't do gesturing. If you have the phone and you're talking, you know, usually he's pretty animated. I would expect his head to move more. There's something weird about the whole video. And as much as he kind of has his shoulder forward, it's not exactly like the way I see it when people are actually holding their own selfie phone. So that's another thing that kind of got me with that. And it's been weird because also a bunch of people are coming forward going, oh, see, I told you all along, he's fine. I'm like, in this current era, this means like nothing. It's so easy to fake. I mean, it'd probably be easier to fake this than to do the faraway videos. So that is not helping at all. Here, we want image. See, it's so tiny. You can't really tell. The eyes, I don't know. I give up. I don't know. I don't think there's a close enough image of them for him to tell what. Yeah, see, it's all, the pixelation here is so extreme. All right, that's the one with the really bad haircut. Here's one with a normal haircut. I don't think we actually know his hairline, though. Because that is not his natural hairline. That's too straight. So it's been, like, done. Trying to look at the wrinkles. 1 wrinkle, 2 wrinkle. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. So anyways, he got the, you know, arm poketies. So a lot of people are wondering if he had a stroke from the arm poketies, and they're trying to cover it, and he died, and The dancing nurses are back, and they are now dancing for climate change. Yeah, I saw. At least there's one batch of them. I did see that. I only saw the one batch, and it was interesting because they did an especially horrible job at dancing. I'm more likely to assume those are actually nurses because they can't dance, whereas all of those pretty good dancing jobs from all over the world for before seemed like they were fake. But it was so bad. I only saw a few minutes of it, but they were terrible at dancing. I'm like, what? I don't know. So the more people fear that we're going to have climate lockdowns, that may be like coming into the reality just because everybody's talking about it. So what we need to do is program in that there's going to be workarounds, solutions, way to avoid it, and that it won't get too bad. That I think has to be whatever comes. There's going to be workarounds, solutions, and way to avoid it, and it won't be that bad. That's what we got to program in. So that's what we're going to be looking for, ways around it, solutions, loopholes, etc., etc. Program in what you want. I mean, you can't program the whole world because it's a democracy. Everybody's voting, right? But you can program in, some routes for yourself. He does have strange eyes. Okay, so I was going to cover this one. I've had it on before, this Greek fire thing. But it seems like it's gotten to be kind of more, a lot of the stuff that's kind of started has really gotten more complex. So Greek fire was an incendiary weapon used by Eastern Roman Empire beginning in AD 672. So basically it was like an ancient version of napalm or something used by the Byzantines, typically used in naval battles. So apparently they had this stuff that it was like a fluid that was pressurized and heated and blasted through some kind of nozzle, and it would shoot fire. But the stuff, it wasn't just fire. You weren't just shooting fire. This stuff would stick like glue onto everything it touched. So if it hosed a person, it hosed a ship, the hull of a ship, even fell on the water. And supposedly when it touched water, it would ignite on its own just by touching water. And it would just keep burning. You couldn't put it out. Like, you couldn't throw water on it because it would just burn with water. So this was how the Byzantines apparently kept control of their area from invaders, was to just hose them with this. I call it napalm, but they don't know what it was. So it could be ignited on contact with water. There's a guess on what it was. Used in naval battles. Burns while floating on water. Responsible for many key Byzantine military victories. Now, I just have not heard of any like this ancient weapon. It used to be, the Chinese invented gunpowder, and that was the big deal, the gunpowder. But now this is basically the big deal, like a really big deal. The impression made by Greek fire on Western European crusaders was such that the name was applied to any sort of incendiary weapon. But actually this is the original. There was a little bit about this a few years ago, like it seemed that they may have had a way to shoot fire, but now it was like totally essential for Byzantine survival for hundreds of years. The composition is a matter of speculation. Was it naphtha, quicklime, calcium phosphide, sulfur, niter? I've never heard of niter. It's a mineral form of potassium nitrate. Interesting. Has been general in English and most other languages since the Crusades. Yeah, I never heard of it. But original Byzantine sources called the substance a variety of names such as sea fire, Roman fire, liquid fire, sticky fire, or manufactured fire. So it just seems like this is very much in the timeline now, where it was just like a seed before. We aren't. I meant a democracy, like meaning the. If you go like the law of manifestation, then everybody gets a vote in the creation of reality. So what are you voting for? And what you vote for is what you concentrate on. So if you concentrate on solutions, solving problems, getting around things, loopholes, and like that, then that's your vote. If you vote for disaster, hate, anger, whatever you're thinking about all day is basically your vote. So when I say it's a democracy, it's like I probably cannot control the entire direction of Earth, but I can add in a couple loopholes for myself and my loved ones, right? That's the theory anyway. So I don't mean like a democracy as in, the actual political spiel. Because otherwise I can't say we, because you guys are all from different parts of the world. The freckles on his face is different. Yeah, I don't know, because you know what? He's so light now, you could see him. I don't know. It's crazy. So if it's really him, then he should go back to looking like how he was before, right? If he's doing okay. I've heard of Greek fire, but I think it was an historical or sci-fi novel. Interesting. I wonder when you heard of it, though. Dragon's Fire. Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't see that name, but what the heck. I don't understand the Red Brigade in climate change protests in England. I don't know. Nothing really makes sense to me much anymore. Like these people, what is it called? No oil or stop oil. That's it. I mean, did they not drive in a car to the protests? Do they not have plastic cups made with petroleum product in their hand? So when they're saying, why are they stopping like people going to work on the road? Why don't they go to the oil companies and break up their meetings or harass the owner? You know what I mean? Like, what do they think they're doing? I mean, if you don't believe in oil, then why are you still flying around the world and using cars and stuff? But it's okay. Like none of that makes any sense. I mean, yes, we all believe that it would be great to have something that's more like less polluting and more cheap and reusable and stuff. Yeah, we all agree on that, but I mean, you're not, what, are you going to starve the world because of it? I mean, like, that's why I'm like, in the old days, people would protest. It's like, let's stop fighting with Vietnam. Okay, that's doable, but you can't like end oil. So what is it you want? The whole thing is just weird now. The meaning behind Extinction Rebellion's Red Robe protesters. So I haven't. Okay. So what? They're just trying to look extreme. Extinction Rebellion's impact will be felt long after the last protester has been peeled from the concrete. Hijack mainstream discourse. I don't know. Maybe because I'm not in the UK, but I didn't hear about it until you just told me. So, these mystical apparitions are the brainchild of Bristolian Doug Francisco. Street performance. We used to do a lot of these statue slow motion things around Europe, and they were our unique signatures. They're still not explaining what it is. It just seems like stuff like makes less and less sense. So this is a good example of it. I read that whole, I read a lot of that and I still don't know what the point is. The red wearing clowns has to be to every climate change conference, no matter what country. Even people who remember Sagittarius remember different Sagittarius realities. This is very true. According to Battleship Galactica, the original movie, we came from different planets, and that's why different races look totally different. You know, that is an interesting concept to think that maybe the different races just came from different realities at some point, and that's why the genetics are a little different and stuff. And then they shuffled on to the same reality somehow. I don't know. I mean, that's just another crazy idea out in the world, but... So I don't know. It's definitely clown world out there. I mean, I do understand the concern about the climate. It's just that now that I see the Mandela and I see stuff just happens by magic, it's really hard for me to take anything seriously. But you know, I'm certainly aware it's an extreme position. I dare you to look up Skibidi toilet. All right. I hope I don't regret this. Skibidi toilet. Okay. Don't make me regret this because I can't have porn on here. Oh, it's a weird video. Okay. The talking head in a toilet is taking the internet by storm. The Skibidi toilet is more than just a viral TikTok. Here's a closer look at the Tube series. A variety of games that are based on the meme of a head in the toilet, apparently. Okay. What is Skibidi toilet? Georgia-based animator Daf Boom, whose real name was revealed in June. I'm on Reddit. I'm on all this social media. I have never heard of this. This is the wiki fandom. Okay. Main character, cameraman. Well, somehow that doesn't seem that weird anymore. Skibidi toilet is a character. All right. This reminds me of Max Headroom in a toilet. Cameraman, speaker man, TV man. Actually, this could be good. I don't know. I might have to look at this later. Check the radiated tortoise. There are now so many different kind of them. I may have seen this. Let's see. So basically the shell colors are just getting crazier and crazier. And of course, turtles aren't slow anymore. So the whole tortoise and the hare thing is now kind of no longer relevant. Radiated tortoise image. Yeah, let's talk about something fun like turtles. It's just been interesting to watch these because first there was just a subtle pattern. And then it just got more and more extreme. And these are definitely not the weirdest patterns I've seen. Ooh, that one's nice. Look at that one. Oh, they all have different patterns. Styling. This has also interested me too because what did they call it? There was a word for it. So they're basically saying if they're raised in the wrong environment, then they have abnormal shell growth. And it's the fault of humans and our bad raising skills. And I don't remember any of this happening on any turtles like 20 years ago. But then they're saying, yeah, but they're actually usually fine anyway. And maybe it's bad and maybe it's not. And blah, blah. I'm just wondering if we're going to get some really weird shaped shells from... I mean, they already are, but last I checked, they're blaming this on humans. Not the pattern of the colors, but the bumpies. And then like, oh, it's the humidity's off, the food's off, this is off, yeah, blah, I don't know. Ooh, even underneath is radiated. Pretty. styling. Only almost done. Let's see. We got Greek Fire, Book of Giants. Did that one. All right, I'm gonna do a quick Twin Towers one. I'm almost done. Twin Towers. Okay, so this one is from Mark Tyus. Good find. So the Twin Towers just keep the Twin Towers just keep changing, and that is the current, you know, the ones that got blown up. That's the current ones that got blown up. I don't know if you noticed anything a little different. That's them building it. Let me get a close up on these. There they are, close-ups. That is the close-up of the towers that got blown up. I don't know if that looks a little different. So we did mention that these stripes, that was a number of years ago. Where did these effing stripes come from? There has been some changes in the overall look, besides all the new buildings that showed up at the bottom. All this stuff. There's that weird church snuggled in there somewhere too. You know, there's not a lot of images at the bottom. I wonder if we're going to find more new weird stuff. And that is the current bottom. Is that during construction? I think it's during construction. The current, but then blown up bottom, I should say. The current bottom that was the bottom. There's not the right, like, languages don't have the right conjugation for the Mandela. The new, old, the old, old. All right, so, you know, a lot of people don't remember that being there. So I'm not going to say anything. I will say those are new-ish, but then these little strips here, but not new. But, and then this showed up not too long ago, well, a couple years ago. Somewhere in there is that little tiny church. I'm not actually finding it now, though. So do you guys see anything different about the Twin Towers? What the heck is that? That might be the little church. I think that's it. Might have been right there. You got like 2 minutes. And the horizontal rainbows, yep. Okay, so for me, the latest stuff, this is, let me find a good one. All right, so there was one with an antenna, one without, and a number of years ago, I said that that's a Mandela for me, but the antenna looks way thicker now, way thicker than I remember. Like, it's really obvious. And fat and colored. It was just like a little stinky thing before. But now it's got like 2 different colors, this bulbous parts. Okay, so that did change for me. Now the one that Mark Tyus found was, he doesn't remember. Yes, there were, this is actually kind of changed. Okay, so for me then, now that I'm really looking at this, what showed up a number of years ago is there were some dark stripes here, here, and here, okay? But now I'm looking at this image, and these look like white stripes. So now they're only dark from some angles, but not from others, and other angles they're white. So that's wrong to me. They were dark stripes. And then there was a dark stripe here but it was the same as those. But now these are like way darker and apparently always dark and not white. So, and then from some you can't even see it. This is weird because now it looks dark from both angles here. So what the hell? I mean, like, what is this? It looks dark, but then up here it always looks dark now, and really dark, and that was not a thing. They weren't, looks like there's vents up here or something. There's lines. That wasn't up there, and it wasn't all dark like that. So, the third thing that I think might have showed up a little whiles ago, because it's a little familiar. I don't think this is the first time I saw it, but this, where is it? I might have eliminated that one. This bottom down here, I don't remember that. It's nice. I just don't remember this cathedral thingy going on there at all. And it kind of matches what's up here a little bit, but I don't remember this being down there. I just remember it being... And the rest of it now is too fine-grained. I actually remember there being, like, you could see, like, grid patterns going up. But now you can't. This is all fine-grained panels, and it looks like brushed nickel or something. And that was not the case. You could see, like, little cross pieces and lines and cross pieces and lines. More, you know, a little bit more like this. Not quite that extreme. But there was patterning all the way up through here of cross pieces and other cross pieces, and that's all gone now. You could barely even see those, and it's like this weird brush finish. You could see it really good in there. It's just used to be able to see these pieces, and you just can't now. So the whole thing has changed quite a bit for me. And the top stripes are new. Yeah, I don't know. So that keeps changing, and good job for Mark Tyus catching that. And it's time to go. So, Shari, I think we missed one of your Mandanimals, so you might want to have to bring that one out next week. So don't forget. You can always use, it's always good to have some backup Mandelas in case it's a slow week. All right, let's see. I am here. Yes, kind of spaced out today. All right, guys, so thanks. Thank you, as usual, for having contributing a lot of Mandelas. And you know the drill. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.